In the name of the God whose kindness is profound, whose mercy is forever, how should the Muslims respond to the acts of blasphemy? Well, the answer that we get from the seerah, the practice of the Prophet, may Allah's mercy be on him, is that we should respond very politely. We should respond by ignoring what these people are saying and doing. We have got a more important task to discharge and deliver, and that is to present before the entire mankind the true faith and the true message of Islam, which is non-violent, which is peaceful, which promotes love and not hatred, and which clarifies the misunderstandings that are there in the minds of people. Whoever makes a negative statement about our beloved Prophet, may Allah's mercy be on him, does so because he or she understands Islam and the Messenger of Islam through us Muslims who are living in the present times. Therefore, any criticism or act of disrespect against the Prophet should be taken by the Muslims as a criticism against the behavior and the teachings that the Muslims are promoting. We can promote the respect for the Prophet, may Allah's mercy be on him, by letting people know what the true Islam is, by patiently responding to the criticisms and the questions raised by the Muslims, by the non-Muslims. And if we look at the Prophet, may Allah's mercy be on him, and his conduct during the Meccan period, we find that he was always polite and non-aggressive on the face of criticism that was raised against him. People would try to insult him, but he would ignore. And that is exactly what the Quran also wants us to do. Instead of indulging in the unnecessary exercise of mudslinging at each other, we should concentrate and focus on the more important task of letting people know what the message of Islam is. Quran has mentioned on a number of occasions the fact that there were people both in Mecca and Medina who tried to insult the Prophet. Each time the Quran desired the Muslims to ignore all such cases of blasphemy and concentrate on following following the message of Islam properly, understanding it and preaching it to people in the best possible manner. Because if we start getting ourselves involved in the task of responding angrily, aggressively and violently, for one thing, we will destroy our own installations, our own assets, which of course is not going to be of any purpose for the cause of Muslims. And on the other hand, the attention of the people is going to be diverted from the true message of Islam towards our aggressive and unimpressively violent behavior, which never attracts people, which never impresses people. What can impress people is the fact that we tell them, even when they are indecent in approaching Islam, we tell them that, look here, despite your indecence, we are going to still be telling you about what our message, what our religion stands for politely, because this is what our great Prophet has taught us. He has not taught us to respond to aggressive messages in a violent and aggressive way. Some people might ask, why then is it that we find in the history of Islam during the times of the Prophet that some of those who criticized him were taken to task? Well, the answer is that the Prophet, may Allah's mercy be on him, was a messenger of God about whom it was declared in the Quran that, like all other previous messengers, in his case too, after a certain deadline would be reached, if there are people who are going to oppose him, they are going to be punished by the Almighty. So it was the special punishment of the Almighty that was meted out to some people who went against him. It was not a policy that was required to be followed by Muslims for all times to come. It was an era-specific policy which was meant only for the times when the Prophet was there, and that too after a certain deadline was reached. Therefore, for us, the glorious example of the Prophet is the one which we see in his conduct during Mecca, during the early part of Medina, wherein whenever somebody tried to blaspheme against him or insult him, he would ignore, he would be polite, and he would concentrate and focus on the true message of Islam to let people understand it properly. May the Almighty enable us to understand His message as best as we can, and may He enable us to follow it to the best of our abilities.